What's up guys, welcome back to the video. So today we're going to be learning about use callback hook in ReactJS. So let's get started. So the use callback hook is a powerful hook in ReactJS for optimizing performance. So we're going to be learning about what is performance and stuff. Basically it's in functional components, as we know hooks for functional components, and it is used to memorize a callback function, preventing it from being recreated or rendering unless if dependencies change. I know it's a lot of words, but we're gonna see an example so that we can understand. And the basic thing we have to do for this is we have to import the use callback. So let's go ahead and create some files for this example. So first of all, the first file we need is, I'm just gonna name it parent. There we go. So we have our parent.jsx. And now what we want to be having is, let's see. So we probably need a title. So we're gonna put a title. And you're gonna understand why do we need a title too. So these are the two files we need, and we don't need this text.jsx anymore. So now what we need is our parent. So in our parent, first of all, we have to have a functional component. And let's go ahead and see an example of like how performance works and stuff. So let's go ahead and see that. So first of all, what we need is a functional component. I'm just gonna name it parent. And inside this component, what we're going to be having is a return. And in this return, we're just going to be having an h1 tag. Or actually, let's go ahead and put this for the title. And the next thing is going to be a button. And this button is going to be click me. And then this button is just going to change some text, okay? So I'm just saying because it's going to change the text. And then this is going to be click me, the first button. So I'm just going to write 1. And I'm going to copy this 2 times, and this is going to be 2. There we go. So now let me go ahead and add a fragment. Let's go ahead and remove this. So yeah, let's go ahead and add a fragment real quick. So there we go. And that's our fragment right there. So we have our fragment done. And now what we need is our text to be displayed. So let's go ahead and start off working with that. So by the way, since we need our title, let's go ahead and also work with our title. But before going, we are going to export this default, and then we want it to be our parent. And let's go ahead and use these in other files like this. Let's go ahead and use a parent. There we go. And our import should be there. And there we go. So now also with our title, what we need is a function. And by the way, I'm first of all going to import React. The reason I'm going to be saying later, because we're going to be using this today. So inside this, I'm just going to name this title. There we go. And inside this title, so I'm just gonna be just saying something like this. So h1, and this is gonna be use callback hook. There we go. So this is our use callback hook, the title basically. And I'm just actually gonna remove these. Yeah, there we go. So that's our title, use callback hook. And let's go ahead and export this. There we go. So we exported our title as a default export, and that's pretty much about this title, and we're going to be coming to this later again. So let's go ahead and go to our parent, and inside this parent, first of all, what we need is some of the imports. So we're going to be importing a use state because we want to see how our text going to change and stuff. So I'm going to be using use state for that, and also our title, of course. So let's go ahead and do title. And there we go. And I'm also going to mention the file name. And there we go. So we are importing the use state from React and the title from our title.jsx. And now let's go ahead and start off with the title since it's easy. So let's go ahead and do title right there. And that's pretty much about title. So now what we want to do is we want to work on the text. So till here, let's go ahead and see our output. So this is how it's going to look like, and I open the console for a purpose, which I'm going to be saying. So this is our title, use callback hook, and click me 1, click me 2. So there are 2 buttons. So there we go. So this is how it looks till now. So let's go ahead and work with our text so that we can display our text and stuff. So first of all, what I need is a const, and this is gonna be the text and a set text. And let me spell this. There we go. So text and set text. And inside this, I'm going to be using the useState hook. And the starting text is going to be hello world. So let's go ahead and put that. So that's our starting text, or the text we start off with. And let's go ahead and have our text right here. I'm just gonna put it right there, and it's gonna be a paragraph, and then it's gonna display our text, and I'm also gonna put an ID for it also. So let's go ahead and put it to be h3 maybe. Let's go ahead and put h3 that, and I'm gonna have an ID for this. So the ID is basically gonna be text, since it's just gonna display our text. So let's go ahead and do this. So hello world, I'm gonna zoom in real quick. So yeah, so use callback is our title, and these are the two buttons. Click me one, click me two. They doesn't do anything right now, and our text. So that's working right there. So now what we want to do is we want to change our text too, right? So let's go ahead and work with that. So first of all, we need a constant, and inside of this, what we want is to name this change text. I'm just gonna name it to change text, and I'll just spell this right. There we go. So that's gonna be our change text, and I'm gonna have an arrow function for this. There we go. And inside this arrow function, I want to use the set text so that I can change the text. So this is basically gonna change the text to be hello world, or actually it's gonna be hello. And by the way, after you change it, you cannot unchange it, right? So that's why what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be having another one, and there's gonna be two, and then there's gonna be changing back to this. There we go. So we are done with that, and there we go. So set text hello world, and that works. So let's go ahead and go right here, and it still doesn't do anything, by the way, because we don't have an on click. So let's go ahead and define an on click. So on click, and the first button is basically going to change the text to be the change text. So let's go ahead and use an arrow function, our event handler, and change text. And I'm gonna copy this and paste for this one too, the button too. Let's go ahead and do that, and that's gonna be change text too. So let's go ahead and reload this. So that works, no errors and stuff. So let me remove these. So click me one doesn't do anything, click me two doesn't do anything, so which means we did an error right here. So let's see, yeah, maybe we didn't do something like this, yeah. So let's go ahead and give that, and now I guess it should work. So let's go ahead and do that, and that works. So now what we want to be doing is, first of all, let's click on the click me one. So hello, click me two, hello world, and that works. So we can be changing this, but the thing I want to show you guys is the performance, as I said. So first of all, what we need is, let's go ahead and have a constant right here, or actually, yeah, let's go ahead and have a constant. And this constant is basically going to be having something like this. So this is going to be render check. So this constant is basically going to check if the if our thing is rendered or the title is rendered and stuff. So yeah, and let's go ahead and do console.log if it does. So let's go ahead and console.log render title, I guess. And there we go. So now what we want to be doing is we want to be using over here. Or if you want, we already displayed in the console, actually we don't have to. So render title is what it's going to display for us. So yeah, now what we want to be doing is, if you want, you guys can use it right here, but that's why I had this render check if you want. So yeah, but since we don't need it, we can delete it. Like if you want to use somewhere over here, you can. So you can store this and put it, but we want the whole thing if it renders or not. So let's go ahead and check that. So let's go ahead and reload this, and it did rendered title 2 times because I have strict mode on and stuff. So yeah, and let's go ahead and see the same thing for this. So what we want to do is we want to do console.log right here. There we go. And inside this console.log, I'm just gonna say hello render 1, I guess, maybe, or render, yeah, that should be good. So I'm gonna copy this, put it right here, and this is gonna be hello world. There we go. So let's go ahead and reload this. So render title and stuff, it came, and if you want to check if the parent rendered, you can put it right here. It's gonna check if the whole thing rendered or not. So there we go. So that works. But as I said, you guys have strict mode on and stuff. So yeah, but we don't need that. So let me go ahead and do something like this. So reload it. So there we go. Our render title works. So let me delete all of that. So click me one. If I click this, our hello rendered and our title too. So we don't want that to happen, right? Our thing is always rendering, and we don't want that to happen. So if you don't want that happen, you have to use react.memo. So the reason why we are using this is basically for performance. So let's say you have a lot of components like these, and then it's gonna take a lot of time to load and stuff. So kind of like a lagger, so I'll say. So yeah, and that's gonna take a lot of time, and it's gonna be doing like these and stuff. So yeah, so that's why what we can be doing is we can do something like this. React, and that's why we imported React right there. And let's go ahead and do this, and there we go. So let's reload this. Click me 1, hello render. Click me 2, hello world render. Click me 1, hello render. So that works. So that is pretty much about title, I guess. So let's go ahead and go to our parent, and in here what we want to do is we want to do kind of like the same thing. So first of all, let's go ahead and do console.log in here, and then what we're going to be doing is render hello. And let's go ahead and do for both of those. And until here, it's not a callback example. I know this is not that great example, but we're gonna be seeing a better example. So this is basically how you use callback, though. So let's go ahead and use callback, and that's pretty much about how you use this. You just have to import it, by the way. So whenever I do this, it's already gonna import for me. So yeah, and I'm gonna be doing the same thing for these. So there we go. So this use callback is gonna memorize the previous things and stuff. So yeah. So now let's go ahead and see our output. So this is an example of callback, but not that of great example. We're gonna be seeing a better example later on in this video. So yeah. So first of all, if I click this, hello, and if I click this, and that still works. So yeah, and that is pretty much about callback. But still, if you want to modify this example into a better one, I know this is not that great example. So if you want to modify this to a better one, you can do something like this. So first of all, let's see how it works though. So let me click this. Wait, it doesn't work. So let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and put 2 right there, and now that should work, I guess. So yeah, and that's not that great example, because normally if I remove the use callback, it's still gonna do the same. So instead, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be having a counter example. So let's go ahead and remove till here probably, because till there it's not that of a great example, as I said. So yeah, and now what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be just removing that and then set to be 0, and I'm gonna be changing this to be count. So we're basically customizing the same example to a counter one. Count right there, and I'm gonna be making that capital. And let's also remove these on clicks real quick. So this is gonna be an increase button. There we go. And the same thing for this, but instead it's gonna be the opposite, basically decrease. And there we go. So this is where we can see our count, and this is gonna be, let's see, so this is gonna be an ID. I mean, the reason why I said an ID is a good practice, because sometimes if you use an ID, if you want to use it, it really doesn't matter, but I thought to do a different one, but let's not do that. So we are basically customizing the same example, and let's go ahead and see our output right here. So of course, and here I know that, so let's go ahead and go right here, and let's go ahead and first of all define these on clicks and stuff so that our error doesn't appear. So first of all, we're gonna be having a constant, and I'm gonna be not using the this use callback right here. So this is gonna be increase equals, and then this is gonna be having an arrow function as usual. So in here, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be doing something like this. So first of all, set count, and the count is gonna be +1 since it's increase, right? And we're gonna be copying this, put it again, and this is going to be decrease, and this is going to be -1 right there. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing, and let's go ahead and have right here and also right here. So if we go ahead and see output, so this is how it's going to look like: our title, our render title, and if I increase, and there we go, it's increasing, decrease, it's decreasing. So that works. So let's go ahead and do the same thing, like right here, console.log, and then we're gonna just say re-rendered, or let's say render, and we're gonna be doing this the same thing. There we go. So render, and we're just gonna say count maybe. There we go, and that should work. So let's go and reload this. So render title, increase, decrease, that works. But normally sometimes what it's going to be doing is like it's sometimes it's not going to be memorizing and stuff, so the previous things. So for that we can use our use callback right here. And this, what it's going to be doing is it's going to avoid some unnecessary re-renders and stuff. So yeah, so we're going to be doing use callback. There we go. And let me go ahead and put all the code inside here. Let's go ahead and copy all this and put it in here. So now if we go ahead and see our output, so render title, now it's not gonna happen. So there we go, our render title is now happening, and render count, and there we go. So that works, but yeah, so normally this is gonna prevent some unnecessary re-renders. So normally what I would do if I wouldn't use callback, it's gonna render the whole page except the title, since we have this, or we have dot right here, and it's gonna render the whole page except that, since we have that memo. And yeah, so it's gonna render the whole page including the buttons and stuff. So yeah, that's why we use callback, and also it's gonna memorize some stuff, as I said. So that's pretty much about use callback. It's kind of very important hook, and sometimes doesn't even is not that important hook at sometimes. So yeah, it's basically pretty much about whole about performance and stuff. So that is pretty much about use callback. So that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.